If you have heard, weak legs are just part of getting older, so eat a little better and try to walk more. I need to stop you right there. That advice sounds reasonable. It even sounds healthy. But for many seniors, it is exactly how leg weakness quietly gets worse. I see this all the time. A person notices the stairs feel steeper. Rising from the couch takes a second try. The grocery bag feels heavier. They blame age. Their friends blame age. Sometimes even family says, well, that happens after 70 Maridao. But that is not the whole story, and it is definitely not the most useful story. What your legs often need is not more random food, not more willpower, and not another miracle supplement. They need the right kind of nutrition reaching aging muscle at the right time, in a form your body can actually use. And today, I want to walk you through 3 foods I trust most for that job, while clearing away the myths that keep seniors from eating them. Before I give you the first one, let me ground this in reality. The National Institute on Aging explains that muscle strength peaks in early adulthood and then declines, with the drop speeding up later in life. They also note that about 30% of adults over 70 have trouble walking, getting up from a chair, or climbing stairs. And the CDC says more than 1 in 4 older adults falls each year. Lower body weakness is one of the major reasons. So if your legs feel different lately, you are not imagining it, and you are not alone. But here is the hopeful part. Common does not mean harmless, and it does not mean untouchable. Your legs are very responsive tissue. Even older muscle can adapt when you give it the signals and building blocks it needs. Now here is myth number 1. If I am eating enough overall, my legs should be fine. This fools a lot of smart people. They are eating 3 times a day. They are not starving. Some are even gaining weight. Yet their legs keep shrinking, weakening, and tiring. Why? Because aging muscle does not respond to food the way younger muscle does. We call this anabolic resistance. That is the fancy term. In plain English, it means older muscle has become harder to impress. A light drizzle of protein that once worked at 40 may do very little at 75. Some research suggests many older adults need roughly 25 to 30 grams of protein at a meal, with enough leucine, an amino acid that helps switch muscle building on. And breakfast is often the weakest meal of the day. This is where many seniors get caught off guard. Coffee and toast feel light. Oatmeal alone feels wholesome. Half a banana feels safe. But if breakfast gives your legs almost no protein signal, your body stays in a weak rebuilding mode for hours. That matters because your legs are expensive tissue. They power standing, walking, climbing, and catching yourself when you trip. If you underfeed them again and again, they do not complain loudly at first. They simply stop showing up for you. If that sounds familiar, tell me in the comments what your usual breakfast looks like, because what I am about to say may explain a lot. And here is why this myth spreads so easily. Many seniors judge meals by comfort, not by muscle value. A bowl of cereal goes down easily. Toast is cheap. Fruit feels clean and safe. None of that is wrong. The problem is that weight on the body and muscle on the body are not the same thing. I have met seniors who say, I cannot be losing muscle, doctor, because I have not lost a pound. Yet their thighs are smaller, their balance is worse, and their walking speed has slowed. Fat can stay while muscle slips away. That is one reason this problem hides in plain sight. The first food is eggs, and the myth around eggs is stubborn. I still hear seniors say, I only eat the whites, or I stopped eating eggs because someone told me they are bad for me. Here is the truth. Eggs are not magic, but they are one of the most efficient foods for older muscle because they deliver high-quality protein in a small, easy package. They also bring leucine, vitamin B12, choline, and some vitamin D. Choline matters because nerves and muscles talk to each other constantly, and your legs depend on that communication every time you step off a curb or rise from a chair. A 2021 pilot randomized trial in older women found that daily egg white protein improved protein intake and some strength-related measures, though the study was small and not the final word. So I do not want to exaggerate it. But clinically, eggs make sense because they help older adults hit a protein target many miss, especially in the morning. And no, I am not telling everyone to eat 6 eggs a day. I am telling you that 1 or 2 whole eggs at breakfast can be a smart, practical move if your doctor has not told you otherwise. Whole eggs matter more than many people realize. Older advice taught people to fear the yolk, but the overlooked part is that the yolk is where you get choline and several micronutrients that support muscle, nerve, and bone health. If you want a stronger breakfast, pair 2 eggs with plain Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or a side of beans instead of toast alone. If you have trouble chewing, soft scrambled eggs are easier than meat. If you have poor appetite, eggs give you a lot of value in a small volume. I remember a patient I will call Luis. He was 78 and proud of how careful he ate. Breakfast was black coffee and dry toast. On good days, he added fruit. He had started using both hands to push off his thighs when standing up, and he thought that was simply age catching him. He also avoided eggs for years because he was afraid of cholesterol. We changed almost nothing at first. We just made breakfast count. 2 eggs, some yogurt, and a short walk after. Within several weeks, he did not become a superhero, but he noticed something important. Getting out of his recliner felt smoother, and his late morning fatigue eased. That is the kind of change I care about. Real, specific, earned. Now let me give you a quick pattern. Interrupt. If you think the second food is spinach, it is not. Spinach has value, yes, but it does not solve the biggest senior muscle problem on its own. Myth number 2 is this: as long as I walk, my legs will stay strong and food is mostly secondary. Walking is wonderful. Please keep walking if you can. The National Institute on Aging is very clear that walking plus resistance training is one of the best combinations for preserving function. But walking without enough protein is like asking a contractor to rebuild your porch with no lumber. Movement gives the instruction. Food gives the material. Older adults need both. That leads to food number 2, salmon, sardines, or another fatty fish you can eat consistently. Notice I did not say fish oil pills first. I said fish. Why? Because fish gives you complete protein for muscle repair, and it also provides omega-3 fats that may help with inflammation and muscle function. A 2024 review of omega-3s and muscle strength in older adults found the evidence promising but mixed. Some meta-analytic data in adults over 60 suggested strength or walking benefits, especially at higher intakes over months. But certainty was low, and not every study agreed. That is exactly why I prefer to speak honestly. Fatty fish is not a guaranteed leg cure. It is a research-backed support food. And when you combine its protein with its omega-3 content, it becomes much more interesting for aging legs than most people realize. What few people realize is that many seniors do not just lose muscle. They also deal with chronic low-grade inflammation, slower recovery, low vitamin D, less appetite, and less efficient muscle repair after activity. Fatty fish can help address several of those at once. Salmon, sardines, trout, and mackerel bring protein, and some bring vitamin D as well. Sardines add calcium if you eat the soft bones. That matters because legs do not work in isolation. Your muscle pulls on bone. Your balance depends on nerve signals. Your joints need calmer inflammation. Your body is a team sport, especially after 65. This is also the moment when a lot of viewers ask me, what about a fish oil capsule instead? Sometimes supplements are appropriate, but this is where many seniors get caught off guard again. A capsule may add omega-3s, but it does not replace the protein, vitamin D, selenium, and meal structure you get from actual fish. High-dose supplements can also be a problem for some people, especially if they use blood thinners or have certain heart rhythm concerns. So if you want the broadest benefit, start with food first, unless your clinician tells you otherwise. And if you already take fish oil, do not double up carelessly just because a video made fish sound powerful. Here is how I like seniors to think about fish. Do not treat it like a rare health food you force down once a month. Treat it like maintenance, a salmon dinner twice a week, sardines mashed with lemon on whole grain toast at lunch, trout with beans and vegetables. If you hate fish, say that plainly in the comments, because a lot of people do, and there are workarounds. But do not skip the idea too quickly. Many people who say they hate fish really hate dry fish, overcooked fish, or fishy canned tuna from 20 years ago. A small change in preparation can change everything. I had a woman named Darlene, age 81, who came to me terrified of falling again after a stumble in her driveway. She was doing balance drills in physical therapy, which was exactly right, but her meals were so low in protein that her legs had very little support for recovery. She did not want steak. She did not enjoy protein shakes. What she would eat was salmon patties and, surprisingly, sardines when mixed with mustard and crackers. Over 2 months, along with her therapy and daily chair rises, she felt steadier on turns and less wiped out after errands. That is not a miracle story. That is what happens when rehab and nutrition finally start cooperating. Now we reach myth number 3, and this one is sneaky. Yogurt is for digestion. Bones are about calcium, and neither one has much to do with leg strength. That sounds sensible until you look closer. The truth is that many seniors need foods that are easy to eat, easy to digest, and rich enough in protein to help them actually reach the meal threshold aging muscle responds to. This is where plain Greek yogurt earns its place. I am not talking about dessert cups loaded with sugar. I mean unsweetened Greek yogurt, or a similar high-protein yogurt you can build a real meal around. Greek yogurt is useful because it is practical. One serving can give you around 15 to 20 grams of protein, depending on the brand, plus calcium and often potassium. Some products also include vitamin D. And if chewing meat feels like work, yogurt can be a lifeline. A recent pilot trial in adults over 55 looked at Greek yogurt during an 8-week exercise program. The study was small and the authors were careful, but it added to the broader idea that whole food dairy proteins deserve attention in older adults. More importantly, from a real-life standpoint, Greek yogurt helps close the breakfast protein gap that leaves so many seniors underfed where muscle is concerned. And let me clear up one more piece of confusion before it steals progress. A lot of people hear calcium and think only about bones. But muscle cells use calcium every time they contract. Nerves rely on minerals to send messages. Balance depends on a chain of events, not one nutrient in one body part. So when a senior chooses a high-protein yogurt instead of a sugary pastry, that choice is not just about digestion or bone density. It may also support steadier meals, better muscle repair, and fewer hours in the day when the legs are running on fumes. This is also where I need to challenge another common mistake. Some seniors eat very little protein early in the day, then try to catch up with a decent dinner. That is better than nothing, but it is not ideal. Your body does not store protein the way it stores calories. Spreading protein more evenly can help. So if breakfast is your weak spot, Greek yogurt becomes more than a snack. It becomes strategy. Add berries for fiber. Add chia or ground flax if you want. Stir in cinnamon. Pair it with eggs if your appetite allows. Suddenly, breakfast stops being empty and starts speaking to your muscles. If one of these myths fooled you, write the word myth in the comments. I always read those because it tells me where confusion is still winning. And stay with me because the next part may matter more than the foods themselves. There are habits that quietly cancel out the benefit of good foods, and seniors are more vulnerable to them than they realize. The first is the protein light breakfast I just mentioned. The second is long sitting without muscle use. If you eat well but sit for 5 or 6 hours at a stretch, your legs still lose the signal to stay capable. The third is relying only on walking and never challenging your muscles with chair stands, step-ups, bands, or light resistance. The fourth is undereating because food has lost its appeal, dentures make chewing harder, or cooking feels exhausting. The fifth is assuming leg weakness is always just age, when it can also be worsened by low vitamin D, medication side effects, poor circulation, nerve issues, arthritis pain, or not enough total calories. Food helps, but food is part of the answer, not the entire answer. So how do these three foods work together in real life? Here is my favorite simple pattern. In the morning, build a protein anchor. That could be eggs, Greek yogurt, or both. At lunch, do not disappear nutritionally. Add leftovers, beans, tuna, cottage cheese, or another solid protein. At dinner, a couple of nights each week, make fatty fish the center of the plate. Then, give your legs a reason to use that fuel. 10 sit-to stands from a sturdy chair, a short walk. Heel raises at the kitchen counter, a few band exercises if your clinician has shown you how. That combination is where things begin to shift. Let me make that even more concrete. A real senior-friendly day might look like this. Breakfast, 2 scrambled eggs and half a cup of Greek yogurt with berries. Lunch, bean soup or chicken salad. Dinner, baked salmon with potatoes and green beans. Between meals, stand up every hour, even just for a minute or two. After breakfast or lunch, a 5 to 10 minute walk, if safe. Twice a week, a few extra leg strength moves, nothing dramatic, nothing punishing, just a steady pattern that tells your body, these legs are still needed, keep them ready. Now I need to give you a responsible caution, because this is health information, not a one-size-fits-all order. If you have kidney disease, advanced heart failure, swallowing problems, severe digestive issues, or a doctor who has placed you on a specific protein or fluid plan, check before making major changes. If you take blood thinners, be consistent with vitamin K intake from leafy greens, rather than swinging wildly. If eggs upset your stomach, or dairy causes bloating, or fish is hard for you to prepare, adapt the plan instead of forcing it. If your leg weakness came on suddenly, affects one side more than the other, comes with numbness, foot drop, back pain, or shortness of breath, do not try to solve that with yogurt and hope. Get evaluated. And I want to say something else that matters. Please do not stop prescribed treatment because a video mentioned food. If you are in physical therapy, stay in physical therapy. If your clinician wants labs for anemia, vitamin D, thyroid function, or nerve problems, get the labs. Good medicine and good nutrition work best together. They are teammates, not rivals. So let us pull the truth together. The truth is not that one superfood rescues aging legs. The truth is smarter. Older muscle becomes harder to stimulate. Seniors often miss the protein mark, especially at breakfast. Walking helps, but walking alone is not enough. And 3 foods can make a very practical difference because they solve common problems from different angles. Eggs give compact, high-quality protein and useful nutrients in an easy form. Fatty fish adds complete protein and omega-3 fats, with evidence that is encouraging even if not perfect. Greek yogurt helps many seniors finally reach a protein-rich meal without a giant appetite. If I were sitting across from you in clinic, I would not ask, "What is the perfect diet?" I would ask, "Which of these 3 foods could you realistically eat this week?" That is the question that changes lives. Maybe it is eggs, because mornings are your weak point. Maybe it is salmon, because dinner is easier than breakfast. Maybe it is Greek yogurt, because chewing has become a hassle. Start where your real life allows, then build from there. And here is my comment question for you today. Which myth fooled you most? That weak legs are just aging? That walking alone is enough? Or that foods like eggs, fish, and yogurt do not really matter? Tell me honestly. I would love to know your age as well, because it helps me shape future videos for the decade of life you are actually living in. If you want more guidance that respects both science and real life after 60, subscribe and stay with me. In my next video, I want to show you the early warning signs that leg weakness is becoming dangerous, especially the signs many seniors miss until a fall makes the problem impossible to ignore. Until then, feed your legs like they still have a future, because they do.